Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Welcome back to another live stream. Have you guys seen this? Thank you, Jari. Okay, let me read this. It's part of some article. I think this is from the Washington Post, actually. Let's see. There has been assertions, notably amplified by former U.S. President Donald Trump, that white farmers, often referred to as Afrikaners or Boers, in South Africa are facing a genocide due to targeted violent attacks and land expropriation policies. That's crazy. I watched part of this a little bit earlier today. Very interesting. Good to see you, Jari. Bye bye. Here, let's give them something to talk about. This is what we patrols around here.
Leave me alone! You're kidding me!
End this quickly. That just reluctant to come out of her corner. Aiden, let the one.
All right, youngster, out you go.
Don't come back!
How about that? Welcome in, Jared. People are strange when they are strangers. I saw the one where he played the video for the African president. Yeah, that's what we're going to watch right now. It's about 8 minutes long. It's weird. Like all of it's just strange. What's going on, Joni? Like the drink. All right, let's take a listen.
What would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that.
Okay, can you guys hear that okay? Bo, that's a drink. Apparently, it's slang for white white farmer.
There's no white genocide in South Africa?
Thank you. Thanks, Jari.
Well, I can answer that for President.
Jared.
It's,
Mistress.
for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me,
Thank you, Mr. President.
it will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to.
I think Donald Trump is the most misunderstood person of all time. Because it's obvious this guy thinks he can just come in here and bribe him. He's like, oh, I'll just come in here and bribe him with $1 billion, you know. Trump's like, no, not interested.
Be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen.
What's up,
would not be here,
Freebird
including
and Don Spain?
my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him.
Let's give a big shout out to the lurkers and the haters.
President Trump listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have
He's like,
we have thousands of stories talking about.
Trump's like, no. That's not my answer.
And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here? Somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and I have to.
Micah,
it has to be
play the
responded
clip.
to.
Yeah, sure.
We have, let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down. Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you.
Yeah, I should get that. Where Burston's says, Micah, play the clip. I should get that.
Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you?
Did you see that? The president of what country is that? It says here, South African president. What's his name? Well, the South African president reaches over to and says something to Trump. And Trump says, "Shh, listen to the video. Watch." Oh, this is amazing.
This parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president,
pay attention.
from no one.
Pay attention.
We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. So whatever you want to do, we can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament.
Burston.
Yes, honorable member. Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing because the
Welcome in,
killing
Mustang
is part of
and
the
Timmy.
revolutionary act.
It was
So,
glorious.
kill, come on, sir. Kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor.
Oh, that's amazing, Mustang. That's pretty good dad humor there. Mustang says, Bursting has the perfect name to work on a SWAT team because he's always bursting in. Ha.
The farmer,
I kind of like it.
The man of DE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you attacked a white man. Not because Pashama and Soli will not be touched. They will be touched. No one.
But we're starting with this whiteness.
It is so wild that Trump's like, play the clip. Reminds me of Joe Rogan. He's like, play that clip.
We're cutting the throat of whiteness. Shoot, kill, Yamasa, kill the brewer, the farmer.
It's like aerobics.
The farmer. Shoot to kill. Come on, sir. Kill the brewer.
What's up, Jody Lynn?
Kill the brewer.
Periwinkle, what's up?
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, was not called for the killing of white people. At least
It's kind of catchy.
I can't never see the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter. They freak out. It sounds like a genocide on that.
Oh, booer. So that's the white farmer. Shoot the booer. That doesn't sound very nice.
Who
They
will
are going to
expropriate
run.
land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refugee in America.
What's up, Root?
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000.
See, and he's obviously wrong. These are not burial sites. At least I don't think they are. I don't know if they buried a bunch of people on the side of the road or not. But originally, when I saw this video, I think a year ago, it was described as a memorial. And what they did was they put up one cross for each white farmer that they said was genocided.
Of white farmers, and those cars are lined up.
So I feel like this is just Trump kind of riding for his friends. Like, yeah, he's kind of like my homie Elon Musk over here says you guys are like genociding people over there in South Africa. Like, what's up with that shit? And they're like, nah, here. Just take a look at the briefcase. He's like, oh, it's a lot of money, not interested. He's all, so what is it? What's up with all of this? You got all these mass graves, and then you kind of have Elon Musk leaning over his shoulder like, yeah, fool, what's up now? I'm rolling with the president because he's from South Africa.
To
pretty
pay
sure.
love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross. And
Whoa, those white things.
there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything
Yeah,
like
me
it.
too, mistress.
Both sides of the road, you have crosses. Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is, because this I've never seen.
He's like a master at gaslighting. He's like, oh, that's some propaganda right there. Yeah, I don't know. I've never even seen that before. Never even heard of it. Trump's like, yeah, you're not going to gaslight me in the Oval Office, dude. Not today.
Okay. I mean, it's in South Africa. That's
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political
Express
parties
themselves.
to adhere to various policies.
That's all we need is radical political types expressing themselves and being free to express themselves. We saw the bombing in Palm Springs. That guy was just expressing himself, right? Express
And
yourself.
in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can
And then
take
when
land.
they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No,
Nothing happens to
there
them.
is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now
The farmers are
utilized.
black. The farmers are not black.
We
I don't
now-
say that's good or bad.
We hear the term kind of thrown around loosely these days, genocide, apartheid, things like that. But this literally is a genocide. You know what I mean? And to ignore it just because it's involving white people as the victim, that's kind of weird.
But the farmers are not black.
But figure we would start the conversation off there. We don't have to stay political. We can talk about whatever you guys want to. But that's just something that I was looking at earlier today. So feel free to comment about it. So what else is going on in this world? So talking about expressing yourself, let's take a look at this Guy Edward Bartkus guy. I actually find this guy quite interesting. I listened to his entire manifesto. It almost bored me to death. But he was interesting. It was like I've never been so bored and interested in listening to somebody. I've just never heard anybody so bizarre and how pathetic they were. But he made some very interesting points. He called life a drug. I was like, wow, I've never thought about it. Like, yeah, I am addicted to this. If you look at life like a drug, which it's not, right? Obviously. A lot of the shit he says is really ridiculous. But he describes perfectly like his current state. And for whatever reason, I just appreciated that. I felt like he was being honest. And it was scary. Don't get me wrong. It was terrifying. That was the most terrifying part about this person named Guy Edward Bartkus. So he was identified as the suspect. He bombed, excuse me, he bombed an American Reproductive Centers Fertility Clinic in Palm Springs, California. And he has that I like to refer to it as the Adam Lanza look. You guys know what I'm talking about? That soulless. Mistress of Wine. How about Biden's surprise diagnosis that came out of nowhere within days of the tapes being released and the book of Tapper released? Yeah, very interesting. We talked about that yesterday for a moment. It's a controversy. I don't know. I think it's very interesting, this guy and his manifesto. What's up, Mark? The wrench looks good on you, buddy. Mr. Beer. What's going on? Yes, sir. Graduated Sleuth Crew Boot Camp. So the media really tried to downplay it. They kind of showed you this, like, oh my God, this guy blew up the fertility center. But really, it was much more devastating. Look at that. Look at the side of the building that they didn't want to show you. This is basically like a smaller scale of what happened with Timothy McVeigh, with the Oklahoma City bombing. I wonder what he actually used. I believe they used a certain type of fertilizer with the Oklahoma City bombing. But I mean, this is no joke. If you had like 100 people doing this simultaneously in one small area, it could be very devastating. So I'd be interested on how this person got a hold of the materials and how he constructed the device. And if it was similar, it seems more effective than the one that was used at the Trump Tower by the guy in the Tesla, in my opinion. This looks way more devastating. Karen Hick, how's it going? Always good to see you. You got it, Mark. Do your thing. Yeah, it has been a minute. Mr. Jones and me sit and talk about beautiful women. His car blew straight through the building. Yeah, all the way through. I don't know if it was the car or just the blast. Because it looks like his car is like over here. Maybe it bounced off the building. I feel like this is his car over here. But I'm not sure. Maybe I have a better photo. Let me go back. I think the one that I played first was the best. Yeah, right here. So I feel like the explosion took place. You know what? I think I might even have a better one. Sorry. Okay, here it is. So I feel like this is where the explosion happened, right here. Look how powerful it was. And apparently, this guy's girlfriend, Sophia, took her own life like earlier that day or sometime near this event. It was like a pact. Timmy, his torso was found about 2 blocks away. What the hell? Is that even possible? Oh, hell no. He took his own life. It was like a suicide bomber. A dark side. Yeah, definitely different. And you're right. Someone he was shown how to make something like that, in my opinion. Might be some of that mind control. You guys hang tight. I'm gonna go see what the hell my dog's barking at. I'll be right back. Apparently, they're barking at nothing. Either way, had a chance to go to the restroom. Okay, let's see. The audio manifesto left by Guy Edward Bartkus, the 25-year-old suspect in the Palm Springs fertility clinic bombing on May 17th, 2025, is a 30-minute recording where he outlines his motives for the attack. In it, Bartkus identifies himself as a pro-mortalist and expresses anger over his own existence. Like he's pissed that nobody asked for his permission. He's like, nobody asked me if I wanted to be born. He's all, therefore, you can't ask anybody to be born, so nobody should ever be born, and life should no longer exist for that reason. Because there's no consent, right? I didn't ask to be born. I didn't ask to be brought into this world, Mom. Like a brat, like a spoiled brat. Let's see. Pro-mortalist and expresses anger over his own existence, stating, I figured I would just make a recording explaining why I've decided to bomb the IVF building or clinic. Basically, it just comes down to I'm angry that I exist and that nobody got my consent to bring me here. He condemns in vitro or fertilization, IVF, as extremely wrong. So anything pro-life, he's against. Yeah, it's a good one. I grew up to that album. He's 26, I think, or something. 25. According to this article, 25-year-old suspect. Let's see. So IVF treatment is extremely wrong, criticizing those who choose to have children, calling it a deliberate act that perpetuates suffering. So I don't know about you guys, but I love life. Like, I'm extremely grateful for life. I feel like this is some kind of, I don't know how to explain this. It's a very, I don't know. I don't know what to call it. Drab? Aligns with philosophies like negative utilitarianism and ephilism. I don't know what ephilism is. So I got something to do with elephants? Ephilism? I'm probably wrong about that. Which focus on minimizing suffering by preventing existence. The recording labeled pre was posted on a website that also contained a written manifesto. Though Bartkus did not explicitly name himself in the audio or written content, the FBI is analyzing this recording as part of its investigation into the bombing, which they classify as an intentional act of terrorism. The manifesto and audio have been referenced across multiple sources. So I'm going to play a little bit of that. It's long and weird, so we're only going to play bits and pieces of it.
Okay, so I figured I would just make a recording.
Okay, can you guys hear that?
Okay, so I figured I would just make a recording explaining. Okay, so I figured I would just make. Okay. So
can you guys hear that? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right. Thank you, Dark Side. Okay, so I'll play the beginning, maybe a little bit of the middle, and then a little piece of the end, and then we'll talk about it. I do want to welcome in Sherry Faye. Welcome in. And we have Dark Side, Mr. Beer, Route 661, and Samantha Lee. And if I missed you, my bad.
I figured I would just make a recording explaining why I've decided to bomb an IVF building or clinic. Basically, it just comes down to I'm angry that I exist, and that nobody got my consent to bring me here. And I know what you're going to say. How could we have got your consent because you didn't exist? Blah blah blah. Exactly the point. There's no way you can get consent to bring someone here, so don't fucking do it, right? And if you're going to try to say something really fucking retarded like, well, since you don't exist, you don't have a consent status, and therefore we don't have to get consent, this really isn't any different from saying, oh, well, the girl's unconscious, so I can't get I can't get her consent to have sex with her, so therefore it's okay because I can't. There's no way to even ask for the consent, right?
Okay, did you guys hear that? Did you hear that comparison? Damn, dogs are going crazy. I think my wife is back. That's why. All right, let me play a little bit more towards the middle.
Years pressuring you to try drugs. Okay, I kind of already said this, but I didn't say the suicide prevention part. But yeah, suicide prevention really is just that. So people trying to prevent others from killing themselves, especially if the person has like a peaceful.
Oh, he talks a lot about euthanasia and like people having the ability to take their own life with dignity. That's something a lot of people have theorized will be a big part of our future. Like, what was it, Futurama, where they had the suicide pods? And he's saying that the reason that people go out and commit like mass murders and become school shooters is because they don't have a way to take their own life with dignity. So they choose mass killing. Like that's supposed to make any sense. But I think to a complete lunatic or a psychopath who has completely lost their mind or who is suffering from some kind of mental defect, might agree.
way of doing it, right? And you try to prevent them from doing it. You're
What's up,
just
Tony?
pushing life on them, which again is a drug. So you're just pushing drugs on people. So fuck that. Absolute nonsense.
So he's saying life is a drug. Like that doesn't make any sense what he's saying. Being created can't be a drug. Doesn't work that way. Unless we were being created and devoured by something else as a drug, we can't be created and be our own drug. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Another little thing I wrote down, really interesting point that I've not heard anyone else make. It's in regards to mass shooters and mass killings and whatnot. And I was thinking to myself, there's an organization called the Violence Project. I believe that's what they're called. They have a lot of interesting data on mass shooters. And something interesting they found, really common in mass shooters, is that they have a suicidal crisis before they become before they start thinking about killing.
Yeah, most mass shooters are probably too cowardly to take themselves out. So what they do is they go out and create these mass events so they get the notoriety and they can do basically death by cop. What's going on? Phil Bond, welcome in. Who else did I miss? Miranda. There is no panel. We're just hanging out. Right now, you're listening to the audio manifesto of the Palm Springs IVF facility bomber. And it's really bizarre.
People, right? They have some kind of suicidal crisis. This is fairly common, right? Not all of them, but pretty common. And I was thinking to myself, you really probably would solve. You would.
Yeah, he's absolutely a coward. He's like, I can't face living life. It's a drug. I didn't give consent to be brought into this world. He sounds like a Satanist. That's what it is. Like, that's satanic talk. I'm anti-God, right? God is like, here, I created you. Now show some gratitude and enjoy your life and live it how you want to. He's like, no, I never asked to be born. I'm going to go kill everybody. Like, he's like the biggest crybaby I think I've ever come across. Like, oh my gosh, another day of beautiful sunlight on my skin. It's so torturous. This cool breeze. It's torturing me. Like we're not talking about the guy from the Metallica song One. We're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody who was born with every advantage possible, really. What's up, Brian? Nice one, Samantha. Hope he doesn't expect consent in hell. Ooh, that's good. I'm pretty sure he already gave consent. Later on in his manifesto, he says something about God, like, if God was real, why would you want to be like, why would you want to follow God? I would rather be friends with the devil, or he says something along those lines, like hell sounds better than heaven anyway. See, so it all really boils down to Satanism. It always does. It's the way it is, guys. It's a battle against evil, between good and evil. Don Spain, how do you figure he's a woke leftist if he was against IVF? Here, let's hear a little bit more. I'll fast forward it a little bit more towards the end. What's up, Anna? Anna says it is possible he had a brain disorder that robbed his life of pleasure. That could explain self-deletion, but not the desire to harm others. Yeah, he's definitely using it as an excuse. Um, I'm just picking up typical psychopath vibes, psychopathy, and he's using all of this elaborate stuff to kind of hide his true intentions, which is destruction and going out in a blaze of grandiosity. So he's basically saying to be born is similar to the act of rape. It's like, oh, all of a sudden you're thrown through some kind of portal. You pop in, you pop out on Earth, and you're like, what the hell? You're just some naked. What are you doing? Like that doesn't. He doesn't make any sense at all. Well, first of all, rape has intention. So who you can tell he doesn't want to admit it, but what he's talking about is God. He's basically saying he's at war with God and that God raped him by creating him and putting him into this physical realm. He's beating around the bush, but that's what he's trying to say. See? See that you hear him? Yes, Miranda. This guy is obviously sick, in my opinion. Um, Probably multiple personality disorders. He's definitely a psychopath. I mean, you can just tell. It's completely obvious, in my opinion, from what I've gathered about it. Tell me what you guys think in the chat. Yeah, ridiculous. It's like he thought he found a clever point and he exhausted it to the point where nobody can argue his point, not realizing that it's not as clever as he really thought it was. But it was enough for him to use as an excuse to do whatever it was that he planned to do. He's not a philosopher, he's just insane and needed a way to destroy things. It's kind of like it's kind of like psyching yourself up. You know what I mean? You're trying to pump yourself up to do it, trying to play a mind game on yourself to convince yourself to go forward with this extreme act. Well, in order to do that, you have to kind of go into some kind of delusional mind state. Sometimes it takes a few different steps and measures to get there. And then you've lost your grip on reality and you're right where you want to be. Thank you, Jari. Fishy. Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense. Well, there's a new movement out, Anna. It's an anti-human movement. It's all based on wickedness, evil, um, corrupting our youth. A lot of the CSAM that's going on today is part of that movement. The sextortion and the corruption of today's youth. There's a huge movement, and he sounds like he might be part of that. It's a new terrorism. It's like it's beyond nihilism. It's like anti-creationism. It's just total destruction. Here, let me zip all the way back here. So any way that this group, and it's getting bigger, young, old, whatever, and it's an online group. It's like a cult. Really, it's a movement. We've covered it. They're taking control over the dark web right now. It's really scary. It's very scary. All right, this is more towards the end here. Yeah, he doesn't admit it, Miranda, but he's talking about God. Because if he keeps talking about rape, in order for there to be a rape, that means that an individual must have had some kind of sadistic intention or sexual motivation, right? But he kind of about that person. So obviously somebody's motivated to violate him, is what he's saying. No, this person who created him didn't ask for his consent. So it's asinine. See, yes, I want attention. It's like he can't even lie about that. He could have just left it at that. Like, it's not for attention. I'm doing this for a greater cause. Eventually this will trickle. It'll be a butterfly effect. But no, he can't. He can't resist. He's like, okay, of course I want attention. Like, obviously that's all it's about. Everything else is just a mask to mask his dark fantasies and his need for attention, in my opinion. You hear the sarcasm? Objectively important causes. He's like, yeah, if I give it a cool name, people will buy it. Wah, wah, wah. Told you it was hard to listen to. But interesting, right? To kind of hear like how fucked up this guy is. And makes you wonder, like, how do you not catch something like that? I think the moral of my channel is basically for people to understand that we're not as safe as we all think we are. You know, we think that the cops are going to come within 5 minutes of an incident. 10 people aren't going to break out of prison and have 8 hours before anybody even knows that they've escaped. Some guy with very minimal capabilities can blow up an entire building with nobody even knowing. He's able to construct this complex explosive device and nobody even knows about it. And he can just pull right up to a building and kill people with a push of a button. I mean, people don't even talk about that Las Vegas shooting that happened. Remember when that crazy lunatic went up into the hotel and had machine guns pointed out of his hotel window at a country music concert? Nobody talks about that. He killed over 50 people. Like, what the hell is going on? Should have cued that Tupac song. Change. Honestly, though, I'm interested in the bomb he had. It was pretty powerful. That's what I'm saying. It's very reminiscent of Oklahoma City. So I'm thinking that he used that specific fertilizer. Some kind of like sulfate. See if I can find anything on that. I'm sure this question went directly to the FBI headquarters. Let's see. Investigators are examining how the suspect, Guy Edward Bartkiss, sourced and built the device. Bartkiss, a rocket hobbyist with a history of experimenting with flammable materials like model rockets and smoke bombs, well, I'm guilty as charged there, may have used commercially available chemicals, which are loosely regulated for hobbyist purchase. Or if, let's say, you're a teacher, let's say you're a chemist or something like that, you could get your hands on this kind of stuff, like Mr. White. Let's see. Reports indicate he posted YouTube videos showing tests of homemade explosives, suggesting he had knowledge of constructing such devices. Though specific materials like C4 or military grade explosives are speculative and unconfirmed. Yeah, not sulfate, sorry, nitrate. Yeah, you can still get it, just nitrate you use for field fertilizer, but it's tracked pretty good. Yeah, it's tracked pretty good. And you can't buy it commercially. Like you have to go through a specific dealer. You can make it at home if you want to. It's not very hard. You have to have certain tools to do it. I think you might need an oscillator. Or you can boil bleach. That would take an eternity. If everybody used their brains, if the mother's life is threatened, of course abortion may be necessary. Both sides use the most extreme arguments to make the. Yeah, that's just common sense. How are you going to make an argument? Or how are you going to win an argument, right? You're going to get very sanctimonious. And you're basically going to fabricate. Pioneer in places. Yeah, so it doesn't really say. Let me see here. The FBI found explosive material in Bartkus 29 Palms residence. But the precise makeup, whether homemade or military grade, awaits forensic analysis. Authorities note the bomb's significant power, capable of scattering debris over 250 yards and damaging buildings blocks away, indicated a sophisticated and potent mixture. Yeah, that shit was no joke. All right, guys, this is our 2-minute warning. If you have anything else to add, please do so now. We're going to get out of here pretty soon. Thanks for hanging out. It was good to see all of you. Misty Free Spirit, Bootleg Pass, welcome in. Sean Bianchi, welcome in, guys. And the rest of you, the Sleuth Crew, Dark Side, Misty Free Spirit, Don Spain, Anna, Mistress of Wine, and the rest of you guys. Miranda, good to see you. Denial Cashin. Denial. Isn't that a river? If you could, hit the like button on the way out. Think if you could, go share the video. Consider becoming a member. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can hit the Cash App. It's right there. Boom. And shout out to all of you who continue to support my channel. You keep supporting me, I'll keep supporting you guys. I appreciate it. Ciao. YouTube Bootleg, take care. Sherry Faye. A lot of young people feel they have no future. Yeah, they feel hopeless. And the thing is, it's all about perception. There's something going on that's just causing them to go down this weird spiral. I always say it's the lack of God, like a true relationship with God. Some people say, oh, yeah, I have a relationship with God and Christ and all of this. But really, they don't. They just think that that's like what you should be saying. Like, I think people really need their own personal relationship, and it's a struggle. Yeah, it's definitely a struggle, but I feel like that's what they all have in common. Not to sound like a Bible thumper, that's my thing. I notice patterns. A big pattern with people who suffer a whole lot. A lot of times they don't have God in their life. We can't live off of bread alone. We need that. We crave it. And once you ask for it, things just seem, even if they're not better, instead of perceiving the world as some kind of suffocating boa constrictor, your perception is just more glorified and colorful. It's like reversed, I guess. So if you want to reverse your perception, whether or not you're suffering in reality or not, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's kind of like the Matrix. You going to take the red pill or the blue pill? But either way, that's going to do for me, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Have a great night. I'll see you again tomorrow morning. The pleasure was all mine. Peace.